What's up, Mel? We're going to have a very, very fun conversation today, and it's going to involve Gunna, album sales. Obviously, you saw the title. Gunna dropped his album and was rolling out his album at the same time as us having the biggest rap beef that we can remember. At least post 2020 biggest rap beef. Would we say Ye and Drake was bigger? I wouldn't say so because there weren't as many direct shots in terms of tracks. It was kind of just them going back and forth, maybe a sub here and there. So we have Kendrick Lamar, Drake. Everyone's eyes and attention are on it. Gunna announces the album, and I even tweeted something along the lines of, man, Gunna's album release just got co-opted by this beef and all these tracks that are dropping. Everybody's focused on that. Gunna didn't move or push back his album date. He went through with it. Keep in mind, Gunna's last album that he dropped last year, this was the first one coming after he decided to give information, truth tell, snitch, whatever you want to call it, that whole ordeal with YSL. That album was anticipated, great album, one of the best albums of last year. If someone told me they thought it was the best, I wouldn't argue with them. It was a great album. We got a completely different Gunna, and he's consistently evolved since then. We had the versatility that Gunna usually has with his flows and sounds and melodies, but we also got different lyrical content, which we're not too used to with Gunna. So this year, things have only gone up for him. There's been a bit more acceptance. Sure, the usual suspects, Lil Durk, clearly put his line down in the sand, but we started to see him get adopted a bit more. For instance, Offset deciding to work with him. So we're like, okay, what are we going to see from Gunna this year? Well, Gunna drops the album, and surprisingly enough, shockingly enough, this album was initially projected to do around 60K first week, which is outstanding. Most rappers are doing 20 to 30K. So 60K is outstanding. People were saying, it's a little bit less or a decent amount less than the album from last year. Keep in mind, the album from last year was kind of like his first day out. If we check out Gunna's discography. So Gift and a Curse, that had way more hype than this album. So this album was supposed to do 60-something K. And Gunna's Gift and a Curse, I believe that one did around 80, 85-ish. Come to find out that One of One ends up doing 91K first week, which outsells Gift and a Curse. I didn't really see too much congratulations with it in order for Gunna, other than his fans. This wasn't really widely reported. I don't even know if I posted about this on IG that he sold this much. And this is where we got to go to the conversation of sales. Also, one of the interesting things that I remember it last year, academics gave some props to Gunna for selling that much with the first album and then said, hey, we got to see if he's able to keep that up and do it for the next album, because him being blackballed and not having all these features from people like, or not having these people even co-signing him, people like 21, Lil Baby, etc. Are we going to get tired of Gunna like this? We saw Roddy Ricch also tap in with Gunna, but Roddy Ricch is not holding that much clout in the industry right now, nor in the fans' eyes. You're saying, hey, if he can keep this up, that's a different story. Well, I hope he gives him his credit, because this year, not only was his album solid, really good, keep in mind, I've only listened so far to the first 10 tracks. I was going to get to the next 10 second day. Not only was this album solid so far from what I've heard, the rest of it could be trash, but I don't believe that to be the case. And that's just because I like to be completely honest with you guys and let you know how much I've actually listened to. There's really not much benefit in lying to me. I hope he got credit for it, because this outsold the last one. The quality was on par with the last one. Some people may think it's better. Some people may think it's not as good. And Gunna did this solo. So now it's 2 straight years that he's spending dolo. Sure, he's got some features in here like Normani. That's a female artist. She's a singer. I'm not saying she's not popular. Offset, okay, that's a good feature. Roddy Ricch and Leon Bridges. Other than that, Gunna is rocking out this album solo. Those are, 4 songs? So 16 songs, completely solo Gunna. Meanwhile, what do we have Lil Baby doing? I have no idea what Lil Baby's doing. He just recently did a song with Central C, so he's got to hop over the pond to not get some clout, but rock with an artist that is very well respected for his rapping right now. And I always said that once Gunna got out, the Gunna and Lil Baby comparisons were going to be a big topic of discussion that I was going to bring forth. I don't know if anybody else was going to do it, but I want this to be known, because Gunna had all odds against him and Lil Baby had all favor for him. And Lil Baby has managed to flip that upside down, and Gunna has managed to flip that upside down, which makes Gunna's accomplishments all the more impressive. But there's something that's odd about this. We know that there are inflation techniques used for album sales or streams, like to jump from 60K projected to 90K. I'm just going to talk about sentiment and awareness and attention, like the market of attention. We only have so much attention to dedicate to certain things. So most of us in hip hop, we're dedicated to this beef. Some people probably listen to the Gunna album, but if you had to just gauge how much of the hip hop listener base was paying attention to A Gift and a Curse, hyped for A Gift and a Curse, and listened to it multiple times, was talking about it, versus One of One, you would probably say, yeah, Gift and a Curse for sure. Everybody paid attention to that more. That was the only thing that was going on at the time. It was huge hype. Drake wasn't dropping. Kendrick wasn't dropping. However, now, when One of One dropped, we have Drake dropping songs, Kendrick dropping songs, and they're beefing with each other. So the attention wasn't really there with the Gunna album. People weren't really talking about it as much. So why would this one sell more than the last one? And this is where I start to look at the numbers a little funny, because man, it just doesn't add up that it sold as much. If it sold at the same amount, I would still be in shock, but it sold more than that. And this is where, I'm not going to say that they faked the sales, but this is where things kind of get shaky. And you got to ask yourself, what's going on here? Because this does not add up. Last year, way bigger, way more hype. Now, it's still a big album, but who do you really hear talking about this? Past the release date, past day one drop. I don't really hear it talked about. Maybe someone listened on the first day, but for it to perform that well, and it doesn't have, well, it has a song that's charting, I think, but it doesn't really have like a smash hit like the last one had. Gift and a Curse, what was the song on there that went crazy? It was, yeah, F You Mean. So Gift and a Curse even had a smash hit on there that really helped album sales. One of One doesn't have that. Or at least like it hasn't shown itself yet. By the time first week came out, everyone picked F You Mean, and that song was going crazy off the jump. So everything was working in favor for Gift and a Curse. But when it comes to, yeah, actually, F You Mean was released as a single 5 or so days before the album dropped. So it had already accumulated, and it was full steam ahead by the time the album dropped. People were like, yo, this is the one. There's a difference. So if it was identified during the album tracking week, it'll take a little bit to heat up to have that much of an effect on the sales. Which is why I said if it was released before, then it has that time, 4 or 5 days. People know if it's a hit at that point. Then they're going to move it to radio, start doing all their magic playlists, all that other stuff. One of One doesn't have either of these things, which is bizarre. And this isn't to knock Gunna. Like I said, this is great. And one of the things I also posted on my IG, which I was very happy to see, I watched this video clip back probably like 5 to 8 times. It's Gunna performing. I'm just going to show you it in the background. I can't play the audio, obviously, because of copyright reasons. But he's performing without like backup tracks on the vocals, and it sounds great. Of course, most rappers just have the backtrack, and they sound nothing in person like they do in the song. But Gunna actually sounds great here performing it. The guy's really, really lean. No Diddy, none of that stuff. He's looking healthy. He's able to perform. He has a great album. It performed well commercially. This guy's just winning. And I felt like we had to give him his credit. And I think this album would have done even better. Maybe not commercially in terms of sales, because these sales are looking a little iffy in the light. But I think it would have been talked about more, and there would have been more discussion around it had it been pushed back. And I want to know if he had the option to push it back and he said no and went through with it. Because if he did do that, I have way more respect for him. Because it's something that nobody was going to come at him for pushing his album back. Drake even said he pushed his back because Taylor Swift had dropped. So if Gunna said, hey guys, you guys are going to have to wait a couple more weeks because Drake and Kendrick are going at it, nobody was going to say anything to him. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments, how Gunna's been faring. Do you think he'll continue to have a solid career, or do you think he needs people? I think he's demonstrated he doesn't need anybody right now. Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Peace.